Hello. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Hillary.
Happy March. We're back.
We are back. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. And welcome, everybody. This is season 3, episode 3 of our Two Girls on Oil podcast. We are back from doTERRA's leadership retreat in Atlanta. It was so amazing. Such a fun experience. Hillary, what was your favorite part?
Oh man, my favorite part was definitely having my very first personal enrolled qualifier. Patty De Silva is a gold leader and she joined me at leadership for the first time. And this is a relationship management business, and building relationships and helping our leaders grow is such a joy to me. And she was the very first person to come with me, and she was the very first person to want to do this business with me. And years ago, this was something that we really just manifested and worked really hard for. And she's taken both US markets and the Brazil markets by storm. And I knew years ago when I attended my first leadership in 2017 by myself that one day I would share it with someone from my own team, just because that is so special, that what we're doing is helping our leaders become leaders on their own and helping them realize that financial freedom and that they can do the things that we're doing too. And it was just really special sharing that with her and getting to show her how doTERRA fills our souls in this leadership realm, this week of personal development. And it truly does allow us to lead from the front. So that was an incredible experience for me. I'm still recovering from leadership. Laura, what about you? What was your favorite part?
Oh gosh, girl, I'm still recovering from leadership too. Re-entry.
It's not easy.
Re-entry is not easy. And again, another shout out to Patty, because this is truly incredible. It was so nice to see you in person, to see her, give you guys big hugs. I am so excited about Prime Meridian and these new integrative healthcare clinics that are coming our way. This is my big why and my big passion. I feel like, especially through going through the desmoid tumor journey, actually a lot of different healing journeys that Mark has been on with me. If you guys don't know, this is my sweet husband, Mark. He's my dancing partner. I'm sure probably lots of you guys know him. But just being kind of abused by the medical system, to be completely honest, and going and searching. And so I love that there is now an integrative approach to health and wellness, which I think is so key. And I'm really excited to see that doTERRA is taking steps to make this dream a reality. And I actually had the privilege of talking with David Sterling. He is one of the founding executives and the CEO and chairman of doTERRA. And he mentioned how this has been a dream of theirs for such a long time. And I can only imagine how many hoops that they've had to jump through to make this a reality. And to see that we are out there changing the face of healthcare and giving people options for natural solutions for their health and their wellness and empowering people. It was just, it was so exciting. Big changes are coming, guys.
It's huge. And before we begin, we're going to do one of our favorite daily wellness practices of placing a drop of frankincense and copaiba under our tongue for cellular support and for calm. And we hope that you will join with us.
Yes. All those antioxidants, all that beta carotene.
So good and so important.
Yes. All right. It is time to dive into your business questions.
Yes. We're diving in.
We are going in. You guys are so incredible. You gave us so many. And there were a couple about taxes. So we are going to have CPA Mark Ricci. We have phone a friend, right? Call in the experts on
Bring in the expert, yes.
To answer the first 2 of your tax questions. And then Hillary and I will take it from there and go through the rest of the questions that you guys gave us. And thank you for all of those. It was always such a joy to interact. You guys had some really great questions for tonight. So
you bet.
Take it away.
So I had a couple of tax-related questions. The first one is, what can be written off as a business versus as a hobby? So this is a very important distinction, because when this new tax law took effect in 2018, it did away with the ability to deduct hobby expenses. So you want to make sure you establish yourself as a business. And the IRS's definition of that is if you are setting up an enterprise with the intent of making a profit, the IRS considers your enterprise a business. If you're just doing it recreationally, just occasionally, say you're a couple good examples are painting and photography. People do painting and photography on the side. It's not really their main line of work. Occasionally, they might sell a painting, they might sell a photograph, but it's not their main source of income. That's a hobby versus a business where you set up for the purpose of creating income, creating profit. So And as far as what can be written off as a business deduction, there's two things. It needs to be ordinary and necessary for your line of business. Ordinary meaning it's a regular expected expense for your industry or for your line of business, and necessary meaning it's needed for you to run your business operations. So that's as far as deductions are concerned. The next question has to do with making quarterly estimated tax payments. So the difference between employees and independent contractors is employees will receive a W-2 and you actually have taxes withheld by your employer. So the taxes are already being paid to the government on your behalf when you're an employee. Well, when you're an independent contractor, you don't have that option. You're receiving the full paycheck, but it's up to you to make the quarterly tax payments to the government. Because if you don't do that, you'll be subject to estimated tax penalty. And my general rule of thumb is to either pay 90% of what you expect to pay in taxes this year, or as a safe harbor, you can go back to your previous year's return and pay in 100% of your previous year taxes. And in doing that, you'll safeguard yourself from being charged estimated tax penalty by the IRS. So
now, Mark, can you explain a little bit? So when someone wants to set up their quarterly tax payments, they're going to take 90 to 100% of what they owed last year and divide that by 4 quarters.
That's
and
correct.
So they can just schedule that in their Google Calendar, and have it automatically, or however they want to send it. They can send it directly through, their online banking to the IRS. Is that what you would recommend that people do, or do you have, any other guidance on the physical, logistical aspects of doing it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's two ways. If you, let's say you are an independent contractor, but you're also an employee, or your spouse is an employee, you could pay in the additional tax by having your spouse adjust their withholding through their employer and have them pay in additional tax that way. If that's not an option for you, then I would go the route that Hillary just suggested, to set up in your calendar or whatever you use, your organizer. The 4 quarterly payments, the due dates are April 15th, June 15th, September 15th, and then January 15th. And you want to make sure that you're paying 25% of what you expect to owe each quarter to make those regular payments with the government. And there's several different options of outlets. You can pay online through the EFTPS website that the IRS has set up. I know there's certain places where you can pay in person. Just ask around the town that you're in. And then, of course, there's the traditional method of just sending a check into the IRS. And you'll just have to look up the specific IRS address, because those addresses are different from the address where you file your return. So.
And then to go
maybe.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Hills.
No, you go ahead, for sure.
I was just going to say, to put this into perspective of people doing the doTERRA business with that, like when we were talking about business versus hobby and things like that. So can Hills and I go on a spa day and talk about the business and use that as a business expense? So
meals are deductible, but entertainment is not deductible as a business expense. So
this is a new thing.
Yes.
But what about self-care? This is self-care. Self-care is really crucial to our business, because if we're burned out, we can't share.
Sorry, nice try. The IRS is going to take that one.
Oh, man. Okay.
So Hillary and I can go get a healthy lunch.
Yes.
And we can talk business.
That's correct.
And strategize.
Okay.
Yes, strategizing your business over lunch is deductible.
But we can't do
Okay.
Sorry, no massages or pedicures or manicures. Sorry.
And the doTERRA guys can't go do golf.
No, can't do that. No.
Well, what if that's part of your regular personal grooming for your videos and your professionalism?
Ooh, you're really trying to sell me.
Because if you're putting yourself on video, you need to look good.
It's a stretch, Hills. It's a stretch.
Okay, good thing my taxes are already done.
But and we kind of have these discussions, right? Of like t-shirts from Alex over at Essential Oil Style. That's a way that we advertise.
Yep, absolutely. Advertising and marketing promotions like
that's
that.
a uniform. Yeah, that's a uniform. Yeah.
Absolutely deductible, yes.
Gifts that we do, oil samples, mailers.
Gifts, samples, promotions,
welcome packets,
business cards, welcome packets. Yes, all deductible items.
Website stuff.
Yep, website fees. Yep, all good things.
So that's good to know.
Yep.
Thank you, Mark. We appreciate it so much. Now, maybe for our viewers, we can go ahead and add that EFTPS website link for everyone so that they can go there and set up an online account so that they can go and submit their tax payments there quarterly, because that way they feel, it would be a good insurance policy that people can feel comfortable about knowing that they're not going to owe a large amount at the end of the year if they're concerned about that.
Yep, absolutely. That's actually the website that I use to pay our quarterly tax estimates is the EFTPS.gov is the website.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yep, absolutely.
And we'll link that for you. We'll put that in the comments for you guys.
Now, Lindsay's asking for a little clarification. How about a rental for a booth? So her booth is a rental. It's an expense for her to be doing her business.
Yes, that is absolutely deductible if you're using that booth to promote your business or try to create business connections. Absolutely, that rental expense that you incur is deductible as a business expense.
Perfect.
Awesome. So any rental fees, or if you're teaching from a hotel or...
Yep. Hotel fees that you incur for traveling for business events or to create business connections.
Traveling to leadership.
Meals
when traveling to leadership.
Meals while traveling to leadership. Yep, absolutely.
Ubers.
Yep, Uber rides, transportation costs, yes.
Tickets to leadership, yeah.
Tickets. If you're renting a car, rental car fees, all those things.
Great. Thank you so much. This was really helpful.
My pleasure, anytime.
Thank you, Mark.
All right, everybody enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, honey. This is fine. I'm very lucky. I married.
Yeah, and you know what? This is all about using your resources, right? So these are great resources that we have available to you, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. You can, really flex that resourcefulness muscle and, get to the internet and use some of your energy and time that you hold space for when you're preparing your taxes to really feel confident and informed that you know what you're doing and that you feel confident with that. And you can also talk to your upline leadership as well, because they've been doing the doTERRA business probably for at least as long as you have, if not longer. And so they might have their own systems and processes. I know for Laura and my teams, we have templates that we provide that are already set up and linked. So we share those in our private teams for our business leaders, and they can go directly there and use those templates to plug in their information each quarter.
Yes, that's such a good point. Such a good point to have on hand. And just as a little side note, I think Elka was talking about this, that Elka from Share Oils, which I love, she was mentioning that the accountant that she had before would kind of talk down to her. They wouldn't explain things, any of the stuff. And she found a really fun woman. Her office was super fun. She was really helpful. She explained stuff. So just a little side note too, you want to make sure that you can trust that person, that you can ask questions, that they work with you. Mark's really fun. He dances. Not all accountants are kind of stiff. So find somebody, and I love that. Get gritty, ask questions, and it's a big piece of your business. I'm grateful and blessed that I married an accountant, but find a good one and ask questions and make sure that you're comfortable with them.
Definitely.
All right. So next questions that we have: how to properly use doTERRA names, trademarks on social media, brochures, business cards, etc. Really, the first thing that popped into my head when I heard this question about properly using doTERRA names and trademarks and things is being compliant on social media. And sometimes that gets a little bit confusing because we have the doTERRA trademark names, the proprietary names of oils versus the generic names. So for example, we know that On Guard is the protective blend, and sometimes, like say in the Essential Life book or the Modern Essentials book, you're going to see protective blend, but that's actually On Guard. And if you're brand new and you're starting the business and you're sharing specifically on social media or anything that can be shared, right? This is a live that can be shared all over the place on YouTube videos, anything like that. You want to make sure that you're speaking compliantly. So you can actually Google doTERRA approved claims list, because again, we don't want to claim that our oils are curing, treating, preventing any type of disease or illness. So that's a nice way that when you start off, you can use that list as a reference when you're speaking. Now, technically, in a one-on-one situation or a private class or something like that, you've got a little bit more wiggle room. But I think it's really important to always try to speak compliantly when talking about oils, because if you think about it, if you're telling people, hey, frankincense is going to cure XYZ. Maybe somebody that's brand new to oils is going to kind of think that that's a bunch of baloney, and it's harder to conceptualize that, maybe accept that, versus, hey, this is something that can help your body with cellular support and health. So that's kind of where I come in with that. Now, I know that the person that asked this question, she's a sweetie on my team, and she was actually thinking about selling some products on Etsy, like making blends and things, and asking, hey, can we put doTERRA's name, like say that this is doTERRA oils? And I did check with my account manager on that and was told doTERRA really doesn't want you doing that. And I can understand that, because that's hard to regulate, and how do we know? So if you're making do-it-yourself products or things like that, you can't really say that it's doTERRA oils, putting that out on social media, selling on websites like Etsy or things like that. I think it's better to be safe than sorry. And you can always contact doTERRA's compliance department if you have any questions. They're actually very sweet. We got to meet them at convention. So if you, when in doubt, you can contact compliance at doTERRA.com, and reach out to them and ask them if they have any questions too. But that's kind of where I was going when I read that question. Hillary, what about you? Anything to add with that?
I would just add that, you really want to think about the purpose of what you're doing. That if you're wanting to share oils with people, it's really it's hauling buckets to be making products with doTERRA oils and selling them on other websites. It's really a disservice in so many ways to the people that are your audience, because it's a lot more cost effective for someone to get a kit of oils and have bottles that have 250 drops each, and they can make their own salves and they can make their own creams and potions, and you're empowering them. But by them having to purchase these bottles and products from you with oils after shipping and handling and packaging and all that, it's a lot of time. And if you really shift that time into teaching and empowering your prospects and the people in your life that are going to be patronizing your business, you're going to find a lot more success in the long run by helping teach those people to fish instead of handing them a fish. Because then when they're hungry for their next meal, they have to come back to you and get a fish again, versus them being able to fish right in their backyard. And it's just really not a wise income producing activity, the hauling buckets and making these potions and creams and things to sell on Etsy. It's just not. That's just my personal opinion. That I really would rather you thrive and grow so much quicker and more sustainably for the future for your business by being able to get these oils in people's hands, and they can do whatever they want with it. They don't have to be limited to only the offerings that you're giving them. So I would really encourage you to spend some time thinking about the purpose of making all of these bottles and these potions and creams to sell on Etsy, when these folks can get those bottles on their own individually, and it's a better value for them. It's also going to be a better use of your time going forward. But as it comes to doTERRA names and trademarks and things, I always would recommend going straight to the product information page. So going directly to, doTERRA's website and Googling, On Guard, or Googling, Breathe, and using the words verbatim to, spin them in a way that resonates with you, that has your voice, but where you're using the words directly from doTERRA, because then you're going to be compliant, and using words like system and function, so supporting or helping to soothe, instead of using disease claims. We don't use disease claims. And so anytime someone in our private team uses a disease claim, I'll just comment and say, let's rephrase this in terms of the symptoms. What are the symptoms that you want support with? And we can help, those systems and processes of the body, like head tension. We don't use the M word, we use head tension. So how we could describe what we're feeling in that frame works really well to help support people from a systemic function.
That's so good.
All right, our next question is, I can't find people interested. So this is a really great one. I love this question, because I think when we're sharing from an authentic place and we're really sharing just on a regular basis, we get into the habit of talking to everybody that we come across, talking to people in our Uber cars, talking to people at the grocery store, talking to our servers at a restaurant, because when we go to a restaurant, we'll spray our hands with On Guard hand spray to clean them. And that's a really great opportunity, because the server's usually like, ooh, what's that good smell? And then you start talking about essential oils, or putting a drop of lemon in your water at a restaurant. That gets people talking about oils. So I think that it's a limiting belief to feel like we can't find people interested, because maybe we want to look at what we're doing. How are we articulating? How are we living this lifestyle? Are we taking our vitamins? Are we diffusing every day? Are we putting oils in our homes where people can see it when they come over? Are we sharing? Are we smart sampling, sharing with people that are having symptoms at the moment that are near us and dear to us? So I think it's a little bit of an indicator of more personal development. If you're finding that you are having trouble finding people interested, focus on your own journey and living your own truth with just using your oils on a daily basis. And you will find that the more you do that, you might feel more comfortable with sharing, and it just becomes so organic that people want to know what you're doing to support yourself.
I love that so much, Hillary. I think it's so true. I read this and I felt like it was a limiting belief. Mm-hmm. And it's exactly what you said. It's talking to people, it's sharing from your heart, and truly talking to make a connection, not to sell oils or figure out anything like that. But for an example, when I was flying to leadership, I was on a flight from Denver to Atlanta, and he saw my backpack that says 2 Girls on Oil and was asking what that is. And I said, oh, it's a podcast with my besties, and we talk about essential oil education. And we just started a conversation, and he was the nicest guy. And I found out that he trains teams with Amazon and with Whole Foods on personal development. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And we just talking to people, loving on people, caring for people, not to get anything out of that. And I was truly just amazed. I was like, oh my gosh, tell me about your job. This is so cool. Wow. And it naturally came up, well, what do you do? And I opened that up and I said, would you like to smell an oil? And we put one on, and it's just helping and serving. And that is my prayer in the morning is, God, use me. Who needs these oils? Send people to me who need this support, who need this help, who are ready, who are open. And like Hillary said, we have our samples on hand. I carry around my little doTERRA keychains that are set with samples. I've got samples of Deep Blue Rub. And you just find opportunities where you can help and serve and offer that if the person is open. And that's what this is all about, is we are solutions providers. And we are here to care and support people, but just be friends with people, talk to people, just because it's the nice, right thing to do. And the blessings will pour down from that too.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you give your elevator speech for why the doTERRA business is so great? Okay. I like this question. I thought it was interesting. Truth be told, I don't have a quote unquote elevator speech, something that I've memorized that I do. I try to always be very real and authentic with what's going on. But what I will say in that situation is, hey, are you open to learning more about doTERRA as an income, like to produce an income? Here is my story. And sharing, hey, I was a burned out, stressed out healthcare professional that got sick with cancer and was healing my body and was told that I couldn't work as a physical therapist for a year. And these beautiful tools came into my life and were such a blessing and worked for me and were supporting me. And so I started researching and I started learning more about that. And my private health coaching clients were open to things for sleep, but they didn't want to go on some type of a pill. And these helped them. And I was able to grow this small business from my home, make my own schedule, have time for self-care. And now with my income, I'm so blessed that I actually make more now through my doTERRA business than I did as a physical therapist. And I'm much happier. And I just share from the heart of, hey, this is my story. And I think that's a powerful thing to share, to make connection with people. I don't like to come off as, hey, you can make a 6-figure income, da, da, da. Like that just, I would run for the hills if somebody came up to me and started doing that. So I just share from the heart and say, hey, is this something that you're open to learning more about? And they can say yes or no, and starting a dialogue. But I think sharing your personal story is so key. Hillary, what about you?
Yeah, I had to giggle at this question. Not that it's a silly question, but because I've genuinely never thought about how can I create an elevator speech and memorize it? Because that's just not the doTERRA culture, really. That's not. I really like being able to cater the communication and the needs and the service that I provide to each individual person, which is why I love one-on-ones. I love when people are successful teaching large group classes, but I found for me, because I'm such a empath that I really love connecting with the energy of the person that I'm talking to and really just dialing into what their needs are. And when you get to know someone during your wellness consult with them, you can really understand their lifestyle, what their pain points are, what's going on in their life right now to create emotional stress. And most people could really use an extra $500 a month, or even if it's an extra $50 a month and starting small. But getting your oils paid for starts small, with just a few friends. And everybody has a mom or dad, sister, brother, neighbor, friend, coworker, service provider. And if everyone shared doTERRA with 3 of their closest friends, they could all get their oils paid for. And so I just really start with whatever is going on in their life right now. Are they having another baby? Do they need extra income? Do they have extra mouths to feed staying in their home? Do they want to quit their job and stop paying more for daycare than they're getting from their job? Whatever their situation is. And I really just try to cater that to them and let them know, if this is something that you're interested in learning about, I'd love to let you know. But if you're not ready for that, you just let me know when you want to learn more. And there's an amazing opportunity available. And you get to really choose from that buffet. You get to choose how often that you teach and how often that you share and serve. And you get to make your schedule, which is really nice because it means there's a limit to your income potential with doTERRA. And the compensation plan, the way it's written, is very generous. Very, very generous. If you compare the compensation plan to lots of other multi-level marketing companies and direct sales companies, it's very different. And so there is a huge opportunity there. And it's based on your effort and your energy and what you want to give. So I really just encourage you not to feel obligated to create an elevator speech, because that is felt. And when you're genuine, that is also felt. And so if you just truly speak from the heart based on that person's input that they're sharing with you, you can't go wrong. And again, it's a limiting belief to think that you need to have something like that in order to succeed and thrive. You just focus on your why and why you love doTERRA. And like Laura said, sharing your story is really important. It's only yours. Nobody has a story like yours. And the more that you share that vulnerability with people, it helps them realize that you're not a salesperson, that you're a service provider, and there's a difference. And yes, we do sell oils. Guess what? We also share this amazing opportunity for you to level up in your life, in your emotions, in your sleep, in the way that you, just communicate and move through the world. And that's the opportunity that doTERRA offers.
So good.
Our next question is, how do you tell strangers about your work, like in the airport or away from any other place like social media? So if people ask me, I just tell them that I am an essential oil educator for doTERRA International, and I work to help people bring essential oils and natural remedies into their home and help them be able to eliminate toxins and live a more low toxin lifestyle. And usually they're really intrigued by it. I'll just say, have you ever heard of doTERRA? So if they'll ask me, what do you do? I'll just say, have you ever heard of doTERRA International? And if they say no, I'll say, have you ever heard of essential oils? And then I'll just share with them, what I do. And usually people are really interested and they're very intrigued and they're very open to it. And it's really fun. It's a great conversation starter, absolutely, because, we carry oils with us. So we have the opportunity to offer people, would you like to experience doTERRA oil? And most of the time they're excited about that. Laura, what about you?
Yeah, I love it. I do pretty much the same thing, right? I say, I help burned out, stressed out women feel good again and get their vibrance and their energy back in their life through natural solutions and essential oils, and share a little bit about my story. And I think that's powerful. And also having them there, right? Saying, hey, have you tried an essential oil before? Are you curious? And just start asking questions. I ask a lot of questions. And I think that's really helpful too, because we can truly listen to them, listen to what their needs are, and serve. I truly feel like sales is service. And when you show up, like Hillary said so beautifully, in an authentic, real space, people can feel that. And just opening up that conversation of, hey, have you ever tried essential oil before? Oh my gosh, yeah. And talking to them, meeting people, connecting with people, getting to know them, and like, what's going on with you? Yeah, are you married? Do you have kids? Are you single? What does your life look like? And just opening up that conversation is really cool. We did that with our Uber driver in Atlanta. I enrolled our sweet Uber driver because he was asking what we were in town for. And he said, oh, we're here for leadership. Have you heard of doTERRA essential oils? And he said, is that like CBD oil? And I was like, kind of, but there's some differences. Let me explain. And he had some shoulder discomfort and was really open. And I really commend him. More and more people are looking for natural solutions. And he had changed his diet and was working with a nutritionist. And he was very open. And I had a sample of Deep Blue Rub and said, here, put this on your shoulder. And I got his contact information. Hey, is it okay for me to reach out to you? And I just put it in my notes section. And then I copied it. And right when I was in the car with him, said, I'm going to send you a text right now so I don't forget. And to make sure that I got the right number, right? Because it's going to boop on his phone while I'm in the car. And I said, hey, I'm Laura. I gave you the sample of Deep Blue Rub to help your shoulder. I'd love to help and support you. And so that I can follow up. So get their contact information too. And we were able to set up a call and get him started. And more people are looking for other things to try before jumping into surgery. They want to take a more conservative approach, which is super exciting. So just talk to people and love on people. I think that's a really great option. All right, next question. Tips to organize so you are not always on your phone, but still supportive of customers. Haha, this is a good question.
It's a really good question.
A really good question. I think there's so many ways that we can go with this, but I think you have to be the keeper of your time and of your schedule and blocking time for that. I block time for my social media. I block time for my work. I also block time for my self-care and for my family time and time that I need to be off, because I think, especially as an entrepreneur, there can be a temptation to be on all the time, right? Or, oh my gosh, I got to serve all the time, or I'm getting text messages, you need help. So one, you rely on your team. We work together as a team. And the beauty is Hillary and I both have global teams, and we have private Facebook groups that we do education and support in. And I always tell people, hey, that's a great place to go to, because we've both been pouring content into our groups for years, and you can use the search tab and find things. So whatever they're looking for, and I teach my people, right? And I think it comes from teaching your people how to fish, hopping on those welcome calls with them as a brand new oiler, showing them, hey, here is our Facebook group. Here's how you can search for things on your phone or on the computer. Here's the files section with all of this cool information. Here's the units tab that you can go through and empower them. I love people to have an app on their phone. Oftentimes I will gift them one, or I can make suggestions for that to have a resource on their phone. We both gift the Essential Life book and the Modern Essentials book to our peoples, because we want them to have tools, right? Again, we want people to be able to fish. And so when you're organizing your information in a way, it supports them and it empowers them to have tools and resources and things that they can go to, because I don't want them feeling like I'm the expert in everything, because that's a very disempowering state of, oh my gosh, I can't do anything unless Laura tells me that I can do it, or this or that. I want my people that, God forbid, something ever happened to me, that they are still going to be using their oils, that they know how to use their tools, that they feel empowered to be able to use those things safely. And we both have groups where not just us, but our leaders, our tribe, they all share. They pop on and share their favorite tips. They're doing classes, they're doing regular education and support, and we're pouring into our people constantly. So that way they know, hey, there's a bunch of things, because I don't want to be getting text messages at 2 a.m. saying, hey, what oil do I need for this? And also setting boundaries, because you're the person who sets the tone for that. So if you're always answering people's questions immediately after they text you, you're not really creating time and space for that. So I think it's important to give it a little bit of time, because I can't tell you how many times somebody's texted me and asked me about something, and I was maybe in my Pilates class or something like that, and I come back and they're like, oh, never mind, I found it. And it empowers them to find those tools. So those are some of the things that we do to organize a little bit, to help with that. Hillary, what about you? What are your favorite tips for this?
Definitely. Well, I want to interject here, because Desiree's mentioning that that it's such a great idea to gift the app. She says she can't afford to gift the book right now, but I could gift the app. So I think you're going to really like the giveaway we have tonight, because it's all about money blocks. And you might be really surprised to find where you've got some hidden money blocks in here that you might not be aware of, that are really affecting this, that are affecting your ability to actually be open to receiving the abundance that your business wants to bring into your space. So hold on, because when we get ready to close our podcast tonight, I think you're going to love this. But Desiree's question about not being able to afford to gift the book right now. So what I do is I gift the book after I have done the welcome call, the wellness consult, set up the 3 90-day goals and the true wellness GPS and the wellness plan for my new enrollments. And when we're doing that, we set up their LRP template, their wish list, to make sure that we're capturing all the items that they didn't get in their first kit, in their welcome, whatever they enrolled with, that can help support those 90-day goals. So that's how we're serving, because we're helping to give those guidelines of how those wonderful people can not only optimize the oils that they purchased, but then have a few additional tools that they add to their toolbox to support them for months 1, 2, and 3, so that after 90 days, they're really seeing that benefit. And guess what I do? After they place their first 100 PV LRP, reinvest my fast start earnings from that, and that pays for the book. So if they are doing a 100 PV LRP, I get $20 from that. And guess what? When I buy the books in bulk, I'm spending about $18 per book, and it's about $4 to ship it media mail. So if you think about, okay, well, if they got a starter kit and you're reinvesting that fast start with roller bottles and fractionated coconut oil, and then you're reinvesting your fast start from their first order in their second month, you're getting 20% off what they purchase. And so typically, and I've talked about this before in my Got Your Oils Now What Periscope, but typically what a really solid across the board first LRP includes is the vitamins, because we all know that is the true fertile soil that we need to have all the other practical protocols that we're incorporating for them to take root. So you've got the vitamins, and you're already at 60 or 70 PV there, and some copaiba, some wild orange, some balance for emotional support, and maybe a digestive enzyme or a probiotic, and poof, you're at 100 PV. And then if they bump that up to 125, you're getting the free oil of that month. So when they're doing 125 PV order, you're getting $24 back. And guess what? That's exactly how much it's going to cost you to send them a book. So you might feel like you can't afford that right now, but I would encourage you to really think about, if you had another type of entrepreneurial business that you started, you would have to take a small business loan. You would have to invest a lot more than $125 into your doTERRA business every month. And so I want you to be thinking about things in those terms, that when you give, you will always have. And so if you think of the book as an energetic exchange, it's a gift, but it's also a reinvestment in your business. Now, when people have questions, guess what? It frees you back up so that you're not on your phone constantly, because you can encourage your team members to use their resources first. You can have them look in the book. They can look in the app. They can go to your team page and make sure that if you don't have a team page already established, either you do that, and that's something maybe you put on your vision board to start, or you work with your upline leadership and ask if you can plug into their customer education group. Now, something that I've also done is I've empowered my leaders to step into the shoes of a leader as well, and I've encouraged them to start posting more content in our private team customer page, so that the people that they're enrolling look at them as an authority figure, not just me, because the group is not mine. The group is ours as a community, as an oil team, that we really are a family. And so this is going to really help you eliminate the feeling, and I think it's called notification insomnia, where you feel like you can't put your phone down, you feel like you can't go to sleep because someone's going to message you, or you have got to make sure that all the notifications have been responded to. If you can do some time blocking, maybe start some habits where you're creating a new dialogue or a vernacular. So when someone asks you a question, maybe if they're sending it to you over text message, you can wait an hour or two until it's a time that you have set aside to respond. And then you can ask the question with a question. Where have you already looked? So I'm sure to not provide the same answer as what you may have already found. And that really, it's a mirror. It allows them the opportunity to look in the mirror and reflect back on, okay, am I just being lazy, or do I really not know? And we have to be real here, you guys. We're not sugarcoating this. That doesn't serve you. So we're going to be real, and we're going to say, are you lazy, Or are you not using your resources? Or maybe you don't know which resources to use. And so as leaders, it's really important that we create leaders that are resourceful, because it's not a lack of resources, but it's a lack of resourcefulness. And Rachel Hollis in her talk at Leadership specifically said, you can learn anything you want in this world on the internet. It's just a matter of you getting gritty and figuring it out and taking the time to learn. So while we don't want to make people feel bad about coming to us, of course not, we want them to, but we want them to come to us after they've done some research and they've used their resources to figure out, maybe if they have a specific question after they've done that research. It's really, really important, because this lifestyle is about empowerment and having options. And if you feel like your only option is whatever Laura tells you or whatever I tell you, then we're taking your power away from you. And we don't want to take your power away. We want to give that power back to you. So sorry, that was a little bit of a soapbox, but it's something that we're really passionate about. And that's why we always talk about gritty, getting gritty. That means really digging into your resources and saying, I have the power within me to figure this out. Where can I look first before I ask? Yeah. All right, the next question is, do online classes work for enrollments? Well, I built my business to platinum doing online virtual classes, so I would say absolutely yes. It's a limiting belief to feel like you can't. It's going to take you longer. It's going to be a harder road. So if you do want to grow virtually, I'm here to tell you it is going to be harder. It is going to be tougher, because when you are eyeballs to eyeballs with someone and you get to put a drop of frankincense in their hands, that's an experience that you can't experience virtually. So that means we have to be extra good, extra gritty, extra resourceful, extra. We have to be extra articulate and extra passionate about communicating about what these oils can do, and extra consistent when sharing online. Laura, what do you think?
100% everything that you just said. It's building that know, like, and trust with people, which takes longer. And it's a road. It's a road. But you know what? We love it. That's why we do it. We love to share online. I love to connect with people on Instagram or Facebook and share. I love to teach on Facebook. So there are challenges that come with that. And yes, people can't smell. And there's something magical about having that connection and that interaction and putting an oil on somebody and seeing their face change for the first time. But you can do both. And I've done both. I teach in-person classes and I teach virtual classes, and I love them both. But I never would have grown a global international business if I had only done in-person classes. And that has been really cool too, to unify a global team and have different leaders in different countries all over the place that can teach too. I feel like everyone has value. Everybody on our team, just like on Hillary's team, they have different gifts and specialties and niches. I've got a wonderful girl who trains dogs, and essential oils and pets is her thing, and she teaches education for our team. We've got nurses, and they do different things. Like it's very cool. So settle in. I think to grow online and to grow on social media, you really have to love it. You have to be consistent. Consistency compounds. Like, you guys know you're going to see 2 Periscopes from Hillary every month, at least. You guys know that you're going to see a virtual Facebook Live class from me at least once a month. And then we pop on a lot live throughout the month on videos. You guys know that you're going to come and see a podcast here once a month. It's that consistency. You guys know that you're going to see Mark and I dance on Mondays unless something crazy happens. Like, this is the fun and the joy. So I think you have to settle in a little bit and relax into it and have fun with it. But yeah, online classes totally work. And it takes time to build that trust. So always share value. Like Hillary said, when you give, you will always have. Give value, give education. And that can be a really great thing too. I don't think online works if you're always saying, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this. That does not work. So it's serving people is really key.
And I think, if I can just add one little tidbit there, it's really important what Laura just mentioned about, you can't just be posting a starter kit and asking for the sale. What we do is we serve, we educate. And then when we've educated, then we ask for the sale. I would say it should be probably less than 10% really that you're asking for the sale, because eventually people are going to be like, good Lord, how do I get these oils? They can do everything. Like, what can't they do? I need these oils. How do I buy these oils? And if you don't ask for the sale, people might not know that, guess what? You sell oils. And it's okay to say that. Then there's no stigma around that. And become comfortable with saying, I do sell doTERRA essential oils, but I also sell this service and this support that comes with it, and this community of love and sisterhood and these good vibes where people care about you and are here to pour into you if you need something. So you need to be comfortable asking for the sale after you've poured out and educated and served and explained all the amazing things that these oils can do. Then ask for the sale.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Ask and you shall receive, and give. It's a fine balance, but yeah. Okay, I love this question. It's a complicated question, but it's a good one. Do you have any pointers on how to best utilize your back office? I have a small team, but I feel like I'm totally missing out on some of the awesome info available there because I just don't know exactly what I am looking at. So I will tell you, it's trial and error. And really literally go and click a bunch of buttons in your back office and figure out what they do. That's how I learned a lot of it, is I clicked on the dashboard tab and I looked around. I was like, okay, you can see your volume, you can see your qualifications, you can see your earnings. You can go through and click on commission summary and account inquiry down there at the bottom, and you can learn a lot. There's reports there at the very bottom that are very helpful, that you can see who are your top enrollers, who's got new advancements. Under the team tab, I really like the graphical tree. I know there's a lot of people that don't, but my brain works that way. I like to see the little people. I like to see where it's all lined up. So I will use the graphical tree quite a bit to kind of take a look there and be able to kind of scroll through and see what's going on in my team and checking those things. I know some people don't, so personal preference there. But when you click on the team tab, it's going to show you, you can see the total number of enrollments that are going on for your team, your overall volume. And I track all that in my handy dandy dough planner. I love this tool. Get you one of these. And so I'm tracking that. Know your numbers. This is a business. Know your numbers. Know what's going on. That's really important too. The team map is kind of cool to look through to see that. Definitely your sponsor changes coming up when you're placing people. But also, this is kind of a neat thing if you haven't found this yet. So if you scroll over to the very top, and it says Wellness Advocate Services, and you can go down to Genealogy, and you can go down to Detailed Genealogy. This is where you can look up people or information. You know, maybe you want to send a little thank you card in the mail to somebody. Maybe you want to love on your people. You can look up and send some stuff that way. The Detailed Genealogy is another cool thing that I like, is when you go into Detailed Genealogy and then there's columns, and if you click on last order date, this is kind of cool. This will pull up and you can see when was the last time that somebody ordered. And if somebody hasn't ordered in over a year, you can email placements and get them removed from your graphical tree. So I do that to keep it very clean, so I know who's actively going, what that looks like. But that's a nice little tip too, that you can go back and you can see when people have last ordered. And it's another great way to reach out to your people and say, hey, can I help? Can I serve? Are there any oils that you don't know how you're using? Can I support you with that? The same thing going under Wellness Advocate Services, Genealogy Summary Genealogy is a nice little one for knowing what your team retention rate is. So you can check that if you haven't done this before. This is kind of a cool thing. And you can go in and you can see the percentage of your active members. There's also in that, there's organizational things. You can weed out columns and fields and do more detailed searches. But everything is there for you. There's actually, doTERRA University has tons of videos on how to use the back office, so get gritty. Check those out. Those are a couple like fast and furious things, and you can go back and watch the replay and open your back office and click on the stuff that I talked about with that. But also, if you have an account manager, if you're silver and above, you need to be getting on calls with your account manager and say, hey, can you give me a tour of the back office? Can you teach me some cool stuff here? Or hop on that business professional advancement team call with them and ask them too. But don't be afraid to click stuff. This is how, I didn't know that there's an upline listing under Wellness Advocate Services that you can click and you can find who's above you. So those are a couple of my favorite, but get gritty and look those things up. Hillary, what about you?
Yeah, I love all of that. I also really love the striking distance because it allows me to know exactly the percentage that I am to my next rank. It allows me to see the percentage of each of my leaders wherever they are. So I like the rank tracker. I also love, like Laura said, being able to remove fields, because if you log in and you're seeing it scroll over to the next page and you have to keep scrolling over, you can absolutely do it so you only see it in one screen. And that I love because it cleans it up. You know, I don't need to see, there's a lot of fields that you can hide. And so you just, you kind of click on them and then you move the arrows over so that you can eliminate those fields from being there. But I would definitely encourage you that if you are not silver and above and you don't have an account manager that you can call, you definitely want to contact the business advancement team and ask them to do a back office demo with you where they can walk you through different elements of the back office, because you can actually click on every column even though it doesn't show a hyperlink. It's like a little hidden secret passageway. When you double click those, you can sort them ascending, descending from the most recent to the most infrequent. And so that's really helpful. But I definitely encourage you to spend some time in doTERRA University and then call the business advancement team. And you don't need an appointment. You can just engage them immediately when you call. Whereas with your account manager, it's really important for you to set up calls twice a month with them. And even if you feel like you know everything, even if you feel like you don't need any help, it's about the relationship management that we talked about earlier in the podcast. It's about relationship management. And down the road, when you have a sticky situation that might come up, or you have an account transfer, or you have someone that needs to reactivate, or you have some issues, really helpful to already have a rapport established with that person, because you can escalate that. It's a great escalation point. Anytime you have anything that needs to go to placements or compliance or wherever, you can forward that to your account management team and they can escalate it for you. So if you have not reached silver yet, you can always engage the business advancement team, and they can walk you through the back office. But it's eye-opening. And I thought I knew everything about the back office, and then when I got an account manager and they showed me all these secret passageways, I was amazed. I was shocked. If you're not tracking your customer retention rate, you need to be doing that monthly. If you're not tracking your enrollments, if you're not tracking people being on LRP, if you're not tracking who's canceled their LRP in the last 30 days or whatever, I definitely recommend that you poke around in there, experiment with things, and use your resources because they're there for you. All right, our next question. Do you recommend handouts during a class? If so, what kind? I do not. I find that people they have the attention span of a fish. It's squirrel, 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 and it's hard to keep someone's attention. So that means you have to be even more engaging and passionate and articulate about the information you're sharing. Keep it as short and sweet as possible if you are in an in-person class setting, but you don't want to give someone anything that's going to distract them from what you're saying. And it's also very overwhelming in the beginning, if it's sort of your intent of giving everybody a catalog and all the foldouts and all the tour pads. Guess what? They're flipping through them and they're not listening to you. And so all the great information that you're sharing, they're missing. And you don't want them feeling overwhelmed by all the information in front of them and then all the information that they're hearing from you, and it's too much. It's overload. So I personally do not recommend doing that. If you are going to do that, I would recommend using the Natural Solutions Tear Pad that doTERRA offers. But other than that, I really do not recommend giving catalogs, giving handouts. You can have one copy of each, and they can come up to you afterward and flip through those and take a look at that. But I just do not recommend that. Laura, what about you?
I'm with you, Hills. What I do is I give people a blank piece of paper and a pen. And I say, here, this is for you to take notes during the class. And they can take their own notes and write stuff down. I do love, if I'm doing a specific class, for example, I'm doing a class on aches and discomfort, and Share Oils, love Elka at Share Oils, and she has some really beautiful tear pads and things if you want to do specific classes, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I love teaching from those, but I'll give those to people at the end as like a little gift and a little freebie. Hey, thanks for coming to the class. Whoop, here's all this information, but it's distracting when you give it to them. Even I don't give people the stuff so they're flipping through all the kits and freaking out, because until they see the value in these oils, it's totally going to freak people out. Their mind is going to turn off. They're not going to be open. So I encourage them to take their own notes. I'll give them a little tear pad at the end that has that down as a resource or a tool. I may give them an Essential Life or not an essential life, a living magazine that comes in the class in the box at the end if they get started, and maybe, you know, a goodie packet, a welcome packet, and some of those things. But yeah, I just don't like to do that. And then at the end, I'll usually just have a sheet of paper, very simple. It's family essentials and home essentials, but here's our big bottle kit with the diffuser. Here's our little bottle kit with the top 10 on a piece of paper that I make an image, super simple. Here's these 2 options, or you could add in, you know, a third. You could put natural solutions on there if you want, but I like to give people the less options, the better. A confused mind will always say no. And so you teach the class, you summarize it. And what I like to do is sit with people and go through at the beginning and say, what are your top health and wellness concerns? And I'll write down on a piece of paper their name and their concern. So that way, as I'm teaching the class, I can make it specific for them. Oh, hey, Kelly, you said that you struggle with sleep. Lavender would be a great oil. And it becomes fun, so everybody starts to interact. But yeah, if I do a tear pad, it's at the very end. Less is more. And I just have a sheet of paper with just 2 options there, and we keep it super simple. And only then, when we've helped and served, if they need to fill out the form with their information to get started in order, then we'll do that. But less is more. Also with your classes, 20 minutes max with like teaching, like less is more, less is more with all of that. Hillary, what do you think? Do we have time for another, or should we start to wrap up?
Yeah, maybe we have time for one more.
Okay. So last question, and we'll save the rest for next time. We'll put them in the queue for you guys. These are such good questions. How to meet new customers or referrals not on social media? Talk to people. Like, talk to people. Just talk to people. Talk to people at the store and pull out your oils. Okay, I love the clutch, the doTERRA clutch. It's in my purse right now, but they see your rollers. They're like, ooh, and I'm like, yeah, girl, oils. And like the sweet girl at Natural Grocers, the cashier, she's like, oh my gosh, those oils. I was like, yes, girl. She's like, can I try one? I said, yes. Here, put this on. I gave her beautiful. I was like, it's going to smell amazing. And just share, do things, join dance classes, go to Pilates, go to yoga, go to Tai Chi class, talk to people. You're on this health and wellness journey anyways, but seriously, just have fun and talk to people just for the sake of making new friends and connections and truly caring about them. Ask them questions, ask them tons of questions, be interested in their life and what's going on. The oils and all of that will come. Again, I think if you go out there like a hunter and you're just trying to like sell, no, nobody kind of wants that, but truly serving, go and talk to people, try new things.
Definitely. And God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, right? And I love to talk and I love to chat, but I love to listen. And it's really important to listen and truly get to know people for no reason other than because you want to make a new friend and you want to hear their story, because we all have a story to tell. And when you stop viewing people as you're poaching them, like, oh, this is I'm a hunter, like Laura said, like they're going to get started, they're going to enroll. It's wonderful to put those dreams out there. Like, oh, I hope that my neighbor wants to get oils one day. That would be fun. Or I hope my friend wants oils, but really releasing that and just enjoying getting to know them from a true, authentic place. Because over time, if you're doing such a great job of listening, they're going to feel really validated and really nurtured and safe and caring in your presence. And they're going to want to be around you more because they feel that genuine energy. And then when they take that turn to ask you about yourself, you can share your journey. You can share what brought you to doTERRA, or if they ask what you do or whatever as you're getting to know people. So I just recommend releasing the expectation and becoming more of a server, like we've talked about before, where you have the menu and you provide the menu. It's not personal. You don't take it personally. If someone's not ready to eat, maybe right now, maybe a couple hours from now, or a couple weeks or months, or even a year or 2 from now, when they're ready, they will come because they know what you're offering. But being a friend is priceless, and you cannot put anything on that. So I would just encourage you to really love on people and get to know people and listen to people and let them share their story with you, and the abundance will flow.
So good. So good. Such a great way to wrap it all up. I love it. And we have a giveaway. Speaking of sharing is caring, we've got a giveaway. Hillary, will you share all the goodness with us about that?
We do. Sharing is caring. It really is. And this month's giveaway is a copy of the book, You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. And if you have not read this book, you're in for a treat, because we have so many hidden money blocks that we don't even know about, that we might not have ever been able to unearth without having this kind of support system from this book. And it's really, really great. I think you're going to love it. And so the winner will have a choice between the Audible version or a hard copy version. So if you are the winner, we'll reach out to you and we'll ask you which one you prefer. And if you want the Audible version, you'll have access to it immediately. And you'll just need to share with us your email address so that we can do that, or your snail mail address, and we'll mail you the hard copy version of the book.
Oh, I love it. This is so exciting. And all you need to do to enter is just post a learning comment below, and a winner will be selected about 15 minutes after our live podcast ends. We're going to use a randomizer app. So something you learned about or enjoyed or you found informative, anything that you want to share about your oil journey, your biz journey as it relates to something that we mentioned tonight. And this is open to one lucky US viewer. We hope it's you.
Yes. And don't forget to join the conversation right along with us, because this is interactive and we want you to share your questions. And even if you have questions that maybe you didn't answer tonight or that we didn't get to, you can ask us questions anytime, and then we'll save them for our next podcast in April. So if you have some burning questions you think about, maybe tomorrow morning as you're doing your morning routine, you can reach out to us and let us know. And we are going to be really here to help you with areas in your business that you struggle with the most. We want to help you through that. We have a few announcements before we close. I'll kick us off. I've got my next Throw It Out Thursday Periscope broadcast coming up next Thursday. So stay tuned for that. I'm also excited to be teaching a wellness workshop for my dentist office the first week of April. So I'm really excited about that. It's branching out and really bringing doTERRA into local service providers and other medical modalities, not necessarily for the actual dental patients yet, but to support the amazing people that are running the office. So I'm really excited for that. Laura, what about you? What do you have coming up?
Oh gosh, girl, that's so exciting. See, this is what we're talking about. Talk to people. Share. Yeah, thank you, Hillary. I wanted to remind everybody, stay tuned for more health and self-care tips over on my coaching page, facebook.com/Dr. Laura Ricci, and on Instagram at Dr. Laura Ricci. If anybody is open to more virtual private health coaching services, you can check out my website. It's lauraricci.bpweb.com. And I taught a virtual class last Friday on the internal use of essential oils. It's a hot topic. There's a lot of fear around it, and we dove in deep. We discussed which oils are safe to take internally, which ones are not, how to safely take essential oils internally, and talked about the quality and the sourcing and the purity and why that matters with internal use of oils. Spoiler alert, and you guys know this, we don't want to use any oils from the health food store or synthetic things from the store or mall. Never take those internally. There's a big difference, and we talk about that in the class. If you're curious, if you're open to learning more, the replay is up in my Facebook group. You can search, and all you have to do is type in Learning with Dr. Laura on Facebook, request to join, we'll add you right in. But this replay will be up through the rest of the month. So pop on over, you can check it out, you can watch it at your convenience. And I have more virtual classes coming up, which I'm really excited about. I've teamed up with my sweet friend Lisa Davis, and I'm doing a class in her group on copaiba and CBD oil. Another hot topic. We're just hitting all the controversial topics this month. And she's also going to be talking a little bit about non-toxic makeup and essential oil tips with that. So my Facebook page has all the events there and all the information, so you can check it out and make sure that you can hop over to those classes or catch the replay whenever it works for you. Love to see you. Love to educate and share.
Thank you all so much for all the insightful questions. It really helps us be able to really hone in and serve you exactly the way that you need and answering the questions that you have. So that is a wrap on our March podcast. We'll see you in April. And if you are interested in exploring any one-on-one business coaching with either Dr. Laura or I, please send either of us a message, and we look forward to supporting you, and we will see you next month. Until then, have a wonderful month.
Yeah, so great to see you guys. Bye.
Bye.